Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning back into another video. Today I just wanted to do basically a quick wrap up of all the Africa safari vlogs that I posted. So go check those out if you haven't yet. Pause this video right here and go play those. Since my mom is in town, I figured it was a good time to talk about some of the less pretty realities of a trip like that that just don't always make it into the videos. I was inspired to make this video because I watched this video by a Kenyan titled "Safaris are overrated, here's why." And he just made a few good points in there about why safaris are not the trip for everybody. The first thing is the reality of how many animals you might actually see in a day. We went into the trip definitely with the expectation, the more realistic expectation, that you would be searching out these animals a lot. They wouldn't just be there for you, you'd be kind of on the hunt a lot of the time. In Masai Mara, that was certainly true, but our first impression, our first park was actually Amboseli, and Amboseli defied all of those realistic expectations for us and kind of raised our expectations for the rest of the trip. Because literally the second we crossed into the Amboseli National Park,
it was just animals
everywhere. Giraffes right next to our car.
That wasn't even the day we were exploring the park. That was the day we were just trying to get to our camps. And by the time we got to our camp that night, it was probably 6 hours or less, we saw more animals than we could have imagined. Yeah. It was really great.
That was a bit of a curse because it raised our expectations so much from these realistic expectations that we had gone in with, that the rest of the trip, even though it was amazing, it dropped down a little bit closer to what expectations we had gone in with, that we would be, searching out these animals a bit more. Especially Masai Mara, which was still an amazing park, and we absolutely loved our time there. But it was definitely a bit more of a searching expedition. We really wanted to see a black rhino because that was our last day. We wanted to see herds crossing the Mara River, and we didn't get to see a lot of those things.
One of our guides, I'm not sure if it was in Tanzania or Kenya, said that he found us unusual because usually the people he guides get bored with the herds of zebras and buffalo and all of those type of things, and we never got, or even elephants, we never got bored.
He was like happy with us because no matter how many times we saw them, we would still get excited, especially zebras. We always wanted to watch the zebras. And maybe that helped us enjoy it more. Like, you've got to make sure that you continue to value those sightings, because how often do you see?
And I can never see too many giraffes. So sometimes we saw groups of like 13 giraffes, which to me was just amazing. And they'd have babies with them. And so,
but there are definitely animals, like she was saying, zebras and gazelles that you'll see tons of. And a lot of people just get bored with that. So then you're searching out these big sightings that might not come, which brings me to my next point of how important luck and timing is for a safari. And there's just not much you can do about it. You can only plan so much, and then it just comes down to luck. Because we were there during the Great Migration. We had amazing sightings in Amboseli, like we said, and amazing sightings everywhere. But we had to kind of talk ourselves out of being disappointed in Masai Mara, our last stop of the trip, because we had made these friends in Ngorongoro, which was our second stop of the trip. And they went to Serengeti and Masai Mara literally one day before us, just one day before us. And they saw this amazing sighting of all these herds crossing the Mara River, which is like the iconic thing that people want to see during the Great Migration.
We've talked with them since then. They were like, "Oh, did you see the Great Migration? It was just so awesome."
And unfortunately, when we went to the Mara River, there were no animals there. The guides will talk to each other over radio and be like, "Hey, we're seeing this right now." And then if you have a good guide, he'll be like, "You turn and go over there and see them." But other than that, it is just luck and timing. You just gotta take your sightings at face value and enjoy them for what they are. Comparing your sightings to other sightings is, like they say, comparison is the thief of joy. At the same time, like I said, just go in with realistic expectations, because ours luckily got blown out of the water, but you don't want to go in with these super high expectations and then have to bring them down. We did come back to the Masai Mara camp, Mara West, and this guy was like really trying to basically show us that his sightings were better that day. And it was just a very interesting conversation that rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
So
and I was like, wow, if you're, if your big thing is to go on the safari, to show everybody else up by what you saw, that's not the reason to go.
There is a lot of driving time on a safari. And obviously I'm not gonna show all of that driving time in my vlogs because it would bore you guys to tears, but there's a lot of driving time. So not only are the game drives, obviously like they're called, driving, but even though we were in like one corner of Kenya and Tanzania, they're humongous countries. So driving within that one corner takes so long, and plus the safari trucks that you're driving in have speed governors installed oftentimes. So your guide is supposed to stay under 80 kilometers per hour. Our guide would like defy that, and then it would be like beeping the entire time we were driving, but you're still driving on dirt roads, unpaved roads. So
if you don't like dust, don't go on a safari. It is dusty roads.
You just have to be content with not being, I mean, obviously we took showers and stuff, but you're not really clean the entire time because you're driving on dirt roads with your windows down. So it's all just coming on you. The next thing is the medications that are needed and just the amount of preparation that goes into a trip like this. First, there's like triple the amount of paperwork than any other country that I've gone to. Not only the COVID paperwork, but visas, yellow fever paperwork, you've got to have the proof of that vaccine, and then yeah, you've got to go to a travel doctor. The yellow fever was the big one, but there were some other medications that you needed. And then we were prescribed malaria pills that you start taking a couple days before your trip, take them throughout the trip, and a week or so after. All of that was, you know, fine. My mom did have some logistical issues getting.
Kelsey had no problems up here in Boston, but in Maryland, I went to about 4 or 5. You know, my regular doctor said, oh, I don't carry exotic immunizations like that.
Exotic.
Yeah. And so then I went back to her when I was told I needed a polio booster. I thought, well, that's not exotic. She's like, oh no, we don't carry that either.
Depending on where you are, it might be difficult. For me, luckily, I went to one travel clinic and they gave me all my shots that day, which was great. The malaria pills, though, I will say, they're not a huge deal, but they did cause a little bit of nausea throughout the trip, which was a bit unfortunate because even though the food looked great, I pretty much never had an appetite to eat. Like every time we sat down to eat, I was just nauseous enough.
Great, it was delicious, but when you have taken that pill,
yeah, you're just nauseous enough where you just don't want to eat. Like it's not nausea that bothered me throughout the day, but anytime where I was presented with food, I was like, no. That shouldn't turn you off of going on a trip like that, but
and it doesn't affect everybody that way. So there are people who can take malaria medicine and not be nauseous. So.
The last thing that I want to talk about is the realities of the price. I feel like it's well known that safaris are not cheap. That's why they're not like a hugely common vacation, but yeah, they're not cheap. We did a private safari, which meant that we had nobody else in our truck with us. That's what I would favor myself, because if you're in a group with people you don't like, like with people you don't know and you happen to not like them, then you're stuck with them. Good luck. You're with them for however long you're on that safari in the car every single day. So I would definitely go for the private safari, but price. It cost us, I don't remember the exact amount, but somewhere between $7,000 to $8,000 a person, and that is not including the flights. I believe the average for like a group safari is closer to $4,000.
If it's private, then you know I can tell Kelsey to let me get near that window.
Yeah, like whenever we were able to like move around the car to see animals.
We could stand the whole time in the park. She could stand the whole time. Roof of the car is up.
And if you want to go somewhere, you can ask your guide to go somewhere. You know, nobody else's opinion is being taken into account, so that's great. There really weren't very many things that we didn't like about the trip, which is awesome.
It honestly was what I pictured a safari would be. I knew that you could go the entire time maybe and not see any of the big 5.
Yeah, honestly, so we saw everything except for rhino, and then our guide, who had the eyes of a hawk, saw a panther. I did not see the panther. He gave me his like binoculars. I could not see this panther, so I don't count it.
Anyway, we did see an awful lot.
I really hope that answered some of your guys' questions about what an African safari is truly like. I mean, my vlogs definitely did not lie. We absolutely loved our trip. There's just some logistics you have to consider. Yeah.
Fantastic trip. Some things you'll never see in this country, obviously.
Just trip of a lifetime.
Very much worth going to see all of those things.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you did, and I will see you guys in the next vlog. Bye!